Hi, my name's Corinna Brown, and you are watching the Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press, and today I am so excited to be joined by Corinna Brown. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. You are the first cast member we have spoken with for Heartstopper, so we are honored to steal just a bit of your time. I know it's been a crazy past few days, and we'll get into the show in just a moment, but I wanted to start off with your background. Like, what was that initial spark that got you passionate about performing?
Well, if I am completely honest, my mum initially put me in ballet because when I was like, I started ballet when I was two. So she initially put me in because I used to like be really clumsy around the house and like be banging into things and dropping into things. And I was not graceful at all. But then, yeah, so since the age of two, I started ballet, fell in love with dance and performing from then, and sort of been in it ever since. But I can say that I'm not any more graceful when I'm just walking around day to day, like I'm really clumsy. So yeah, that was the initial spark. I then sort of did drama schools, a Saturday school. It was called Anna Teeny, so I used to do that on the weekend as well, and that's where I got more into the musical theatre side, dancing, singing, acting, and then yeah, I've literally done it ever since GCSE, A level, and then uni, E15.
So clearly, like the arts has been something that's followed you along your career. I imagine when you got to a certain age, you were kind of like, this is all I'm doing for for the rest of my life because
Yeah,
I love it so much.
literally, it was. I think it was GCSE time when we were like picking options for careers, and that's when everyone's like talking about your job a lot more seriously. And I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna perform. And everyone was like, yeah, but what's your plan B? And I was like, well, I'm not going to have one because my plan A is going to work. I'm going to be a performer. I'm going to be like, I didn't know what at the time. I was like, well, I love dance. I love music. I love acting. So yeah, very much the attitude I've got now. I'm like, well, I'm just going to do what I love.
I love the confidence. And hey, it's starting to work for you. You mentioned dance. You are also skilled in stage combat. So tell
Yeah.
me about like these forms of movement and just what really drew you towards them.
So yeah, like I said, I started dance really early, and literally the only thing that's changed is like the styles that I do. So obviously I started off in ballet, then I went into more of the tap, absolutely love tap. And huge respect for all tap dancers, all dancers in general, all creatives. But yeah, then I think I found my place with like hip hop and street dance, and I went on to. I've been lucky enough to perform with like Nadia Rose at Wireless festivals and Reading Festival over here. So that's always been with me. And when I went to uni looking for courses, um, I was initially only applying for straight acting courses. And then when I was on the East 15 website, it allowed you to pick up to five. So I selected straight acting, physical theatre as well, and combat, which at the time I had no idea what it was. I was like, oh, it just sounds fun. I read on the like little prospectus that it was like you get to fight with swords and horse riding, and I was like, I've never done anything martial in my life, but I'm just gonna do it. Cut to now, I'm like a graduate from the course. Absolutely fell in love with it. Term one, I was like, oh, I'll go. And because I also had an offer from Central School of Speech and Drama for their 3 year musical theatre course. But they were just like, go get a year out and then come back. So I initially started East 15 thinking I might drop out after a year because I loved Central so much. But then I think 2 weeks in, I was like, I'm staying here. Now thinking about it, I don't know how I'd be able to sit still throughout a full acting course because I'm a fidget. But it's the best decision I made. Kept me healthy, kept me fit as well, and yeah, I just guess I learned that I can tie in all my skills and they can be useful.
Are action projects something that you would like to explore more of in the future?
Absolutely. I've done a couple of mocap jobs already, and I had the best time of my life. They're really such fun. But the goal is like Marvel. Like I will be in a Marvel film, maybe a young Storm or a villain or someone with like a meaty storyline. That would be cool.
That would be insane. And I was gonna say, I was watching like an action demo reel of yours, and you were doing close combat in like a small washroom. And I remember watching that thinking, like, you're an action star. And then reading that you not only do the stage combat, but you have training in martial arts. You said sword fighting, even firearms. So I feel like the sky's the limit for roles that you could do in the future.
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. That's literally my perspective as well. I'm like, I can do it and I will. So watch this space.
I also feel like you or Tara would be good at rugby, which we obviously didn't get to see, but maybe more so than maybe better at rugby than Charlie Spring, would you say?
Yeah, I'd say Tara would give Charlie a run for his money in the rugby match. She's got her own. um, I feel like she's really competitive and so am I. So like we'd win.
Maybe season two. Which we'll get into Heartstopper now. There will be spoilers discussed, so please make sure you have watched season one in its entirety before continuing with this interview. But Tara Jones, like, what drew you to this character and what challenged you with her?
Oh, so initially receiving her monologue, so I auditioned for Tara straight away, and I got sent her beautiful speech that she says in episode 6. And just from an actor's perspective, having such a complex, like sweet but struggling character come like into your lap, like it's a beautiful opportunity. And I was like honored and I really connected with that monologue. I thought it'd be fun and a challenge to try and like get the best performance because it's so honest. So that's one thing that initially when I read her speech, I was like, yeah, I really want to do this well. I hope I get this job. Also her sweet nature and zest for life is something I think we really have like in common. And I love that in a character. And I don't think like Black characters are normally represented as like this the hard, stern character. So the fact that she's just sweet and going through a really hard time and figuring that out, that was something that I was like, wow, I've got to do this justice.
And I like what you said there because you mentioned, there's the stereotype sometimes, like the strong Black character. But I love that with Tara, it takes a bit of time, but we do get to see her kind of break down and be vulnerable, which we'll talk about episode 6 in just a bit. But a lot of her storyline did revolve around her relationship with Darcy. Tell me about working with Kizzy, and did the two of you spend a lot of time together offset to build that relationship and that trust?
Yes, firstly, Kizzy is amazing. They are just such fun. And the general rule of thumb was, yeah, if I was in working, they'd be in working that day too, because yeah, we are Tara and Darcy. So naturally we spent the most time together and it was great. And we were all going through this experience, like we are filming a Netflix show. So we all going through this experience. So because we had that in common, like we were on the same ground, we were going through the same motions, we got it. We clicked, and it's down to the casting as well, because honestly you can't fake like your friendships and genuine chemistry. So even with the whole cast, Daniel Edwards did a good job because we all generally get on and they're great people, such good friends. And also with like the intimacy side of it, like when the characters are a lot closer, we had David on set as well who was helping us. He helped build that relationship and the trust between us both. It was just a whole group team effort.
What are some things that you and Kizzy liked to do together to kind of break the ice?
Oh, so we played a lot of games actually. We played Psych, which is quite a fun game. Ellen DeGeneres' game. We played that, and you could, from that game in particular, you can tell when we got like more comfortable with each other, because like the comments that we put on would be like a little meaner, rather than all the like, oh, I think this person's the most likely to like smile more. Then it was like the gritty, who's most likely to be late, who's more likely to be a diva on set. So yeah, spending like, we played loads of games. Also we were like on our first big TV set together, so we like go off and see what's happening, see what other people are doing, feel like little naughty school kids. Yeah, I think it's the mischief that brought Kizzy and I together, to be fair, the fun.
I love that you and them decided you were just going to come as a pair on set because that's kind of what happens with your characters. We unfortunately didn't get to see them build their relationship like we do with Nick and Charlie, nor do we see a lot of Tara's backstory, like her life at home and her family. Was this something that you discussed with your creator, writer Alice Oseman, and was she open to answering questions that you had about Tara?
Yeah, from the very beginning, Alice was incredible. Like, they allowed us to find our character's backstory, like ourselves, and through improvisation. So we had a couple of conversations, and we did hot seating exercises, which were really helpful, and group discussions to see where we thought, like, how our characters' home lives and backstories were, which as like helps build a full rounded person, which helps with things like performance aspects seem more authentic and natural. So yeah, Alice from the get-go, they were great.
I'm a little curious to hear if you don't mind sharing maybe like a tidbit or something. What kind of backstory did you create for Tara? Because it's so important and it really shapes how you portray a character because a lot of what they do and their motivations would be fueled by their childhood and their life at home.
So for me, I think I initially went with the feeling that Tara's got her mum and dad, they live together, which is what you don't see a lot when people are like depicting Black household. So it was important to me that she came from a stable home and that her parents are really supportive. So you've got that off the get-go. And so she is comfortable in her sexuality because she's got that rooting from being so close to her mum and dad. I think I also said she's got an older brother. Yeah, so they're all really close and they get on really well, which helped me have the push-pull effect when she's at school, and she's not getting that same response and she's getting more of the gossip. That's why she's struggling so much. That it was good for a through line for me to think she's not experienced it because at home it's so accepted and she's comfortable. Yeah, that's one of the main like background things that helped shape Tara.
Thank you for sharing that. I love it. And I think it plays perfectly to the narrative because we do know from the books that Darcy has a harder time with her family. And so that could explain why she is a bit more, I wouldn't say accepting, but she doesn't take it as hard, like all the negative comments at school. I wanted to talk about one of my favorite relationships in the show, which was actually that of Tara and Nick. What is it about Nick that allows Tara to be authentic and honest about her sexual identity and vice versa?
Do you know what? I think because they've been friends for so long, because Tara and Nick went to primary school together, I think that because Kit's portrayal of Nick Nelson was so kind and open and warm, I feel like, why wouldn't Tara trust and confide in him? I think, and she's so intuitive and she can pick up on other people's, like what they're going through without needing many words or much speech. Because I say Tara's very observant and she picks up on energies. I feel like she sort of has an inkling that Nick's on the same discovery path as she. Like, I feel like she knows that there's something going on between Nick and Charlie, and she's like, okay, or maybe I'm going to tell you what I'm going through, and then we'll see if that helps. I think it's very much mutual respect and love and like care for each other that they have.
Especially because like you mentioned, they were friends when they were younger. They shared a kiss at like the school disco, but they haven't really kept in touch. So I think it means a lot. Like you mentioned, they can kind of sense each other being there. And it's almost like when you find your tribe and your crew of people because they can confide in each other. There's a sweet moment. My personal favorite moment was at the concert when Nick was holding Tara's clarinet case and they ask each other if they're going to be okay. Do you think your favorite interaction between the two of them?
Do you know what? I watched it back, and yeah, I watched it back today actually, and it's on. It's such a cute moment. Yeah, that is one of my favorite moments. But then also when I'm thinking about like actually filming, every time we were all together on set doing a scene, it felt like that was the moment. Like, do you know what I mean? So watching it back, I definitely say that, yeah, that scene between Nick and Tara is so cute. I do love when we have the flashback though and see mini Tara and mini Kit. That
Anytime you bring like younger actors on screen, you're like, oh, that's mini me. That's so cute.
yeah, the whole day I was obsessed. I was going, oh my gosh, look. But the joke is, my mini me and myself, there was not much difference in our height. Like she was maybe an inch shorter than me.
So definitely around a certain age, Tara did not grow anymore.
Yeah. It was at 13 she stopped.
Now, Kit was, I think, one of the more experienced teen actors like going into filming. So is there anything that you kind of picked up on from him and watching him work?
You know what? Kit's just really cool and collected and calm. And I think I did it because I'm very energetic, if you couldn't tell, and like a burst of energy at all times. So sometimes it's really refreshing to have that cool, calm, collected take. And yeah, he's really patient. He listens. He's listening when saying lines and delivering lines. It's just incredible. Yeah, so I did actually pick up quite a few tips. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it like this. Yeah, amazing actor to work with.
I'm
As are
sure
the rest of the cast as well.
it must be, I was gonna say it's nice to like work on a set with so many people, and a lot of them are new, like kind of new to a big production like this, but then it's just a nice melting pot of things to learn and pick up. Which was your all-time favorite scene to be a part of and why?
Oh, favorite all-time scene to be a part of. I have to say it's the party scene. That was such a fun day. It was really hot, really, really hot. I was sweating, but it was such a fun day because all the magic that you see on the screen, it literally felt like that whilst we were filming. Bearing in mind, we can see like people queuing, the like confetti and the lights, but it still felt like magical. That was so fun, such a fun day. Also, I was like pretending to be a DJ. I was in my element. I love music, so I was like, but you don't see that in the show.
That was such a fun scene, Harry's party, like, seeing Tara and Darcy on the dance floor, you looked so happy and so free. Now, was the same song that made the final cut playing in the background, or was there no music, or was it a different song?
We had the same song on repeat every take. So by the time the end of the day came, we were all like, oh my gosh, this song, I can't, it's ingrained in me.
I mean, I'm guessing it was pretty loud, but it's such a fitting song, Clearest Blue by Churches. I love that song because it just fit with, the emotions, obviously with Tara and Darcy, but also Nick kind of watching them, which is also kind of funny because, when you're filming it, you're just dancing and being yourself, but then in the shot that Kit is like supposed to be staring at you too
Yeah.
as you do the takes over and over again.
Yeah, I remember because we will film it from both sides. So we'll be dancing while all the cameras are on Kit. And I remember like catching Kit's eye as he was like staring at Tara and Darcy dancing. And oh, the look, it just melted my heart. I was like, this is going to be so good. Bearing in mind, we all hadn't seen it yet. So it's like I was just imagining what it was going to look like. And to be fair, it came out better because Deanna, the DOP, is incredible, and we've got an incredible team. Eros, and yeah, everyone's worked so hard on it. So it's so good to like see it on the screen.
Yeah, for sure. Which was the most challenging scene for you and why?
I think I would say music room episode 6 scene, because firstly we shot that on our first day on set, so I was extremely nervous.
You were thrown right in.
Right in, hadn't met anyone yet, well, any of the rest of the crew yet. So I was like, oh my gosh, so much pressure, I'm under pressure, I'm under pressure. And as an actor, it's like, this is your character's moment, like you want to deliver the best thing of your life, but I'm dealing with my nerves, like first day nerves. So I'd say that was a challenge, but you channel it and you use it. And I think that's also why it made the scene so like as good as it was, because there were real like emotions behind everything. It was, yeah.
Now, how did you emotionally and like mentally prepare for that episode? Because as we mentioned, Tara, she struggles with having everyone at Higgs know she's a lesbian and having that relationship in the public eye, which she's kind of not used to the same response. And episode 6 was the really crucial one for your character.
Yeah. So I think, as I said, like firstly, I had the nerves of the first day. So for me, I definitely took a moment out to like ground myself, just like do some visualizations of like you're standing there, shoot some roots through the floor. And these were exercises that I did learn at drama school. And I do remember being in the class whilst they're teaching this and thinking, oh, am I going to do this? I'm just gonna go. And cut to my first job, I'm standing in the corner going, right, let's settle our nerves and go back to the basics. So yeah, I definitely found myself a place of calm. And all of like just Alice's words are just so real and have so much emotion in them and life in them themselves. So it was so easy to hone into that, because I believed every word of what this character was saying and what I needed to portray. And school wasn't that long ago, and I didn't have the greatest experience. I also was like got bullied, and you remember the groups of gossiping. It is horrible. So I think just remembering all of that, having all of that, and also acting alongside Kizzy. Kizzy's incredible. So it was so easy, because yeah, it is about having someone to bounce off as well. And they're incredible. So it was all made really easy for me.
I'm so sorry to hear like not the greatest experience sometimes at school, but you channeled those emotions. And when they were sitting on the floor and when Tara, you have the dialogue, I just want to live my life. And I think that anyone going through a change or transition, no matter how seemingly big or small, could feel that. And so for me to hear you did that on your first day, like overall, you did such a phenomenal job, but specifically with that scene, it was a really beautiful one.
Thank you. That means a lot, honestly. Thank you so much.
Of course. Now, which was your favorite, most memorable scene that you were not in? Like, what did you watch and you squealed and you said, oh my gosh, I'm going to watch this scene over and over again?
It's hard to pick one. I'm like, oh,
all of them.
Yeah, or every other one that I'm not in. Well, for me, a moment that gets me every time is when Charlie's asleep on Nick's sofa and the sparks. But just because it has there's such the tie-in with the comics as well. Like there's literally the drawing in the book, and then you get the shot. That moment every time sends my heart in flutters. Also, I love the bowling scene, mainly because like I can imagine that was a really fun day to be filming on. Kizzy and I were awaiting our invite. But yeah, that was, and we've got so many iconic towel lines in that scene, and Isaac moments, and yeah, they're really fun. I like the arcade. Let's say the bowling scene.
Yeah, I love the tie-in with the books you mentioned, like the little graphics. There were leaves that we saw throughout the season, and then the little Easter egg with Isaac holding radio silence. Obviously, everyone picked up on that one.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
very clever of Alice and Pat and like everyone in the production.
they're all very clever. hard-working people. That's it. They brought us this magical show. There's so many other little moments as well. I don't want to say too many because part of the fun is rewatching it and being like, what can I notice this time?
So we saw Tara and Darcy befriend Elle early on. What was it like working with Yasmin, and how natural did that connection feel?
Oh, Yaz is an absolute queen. And from the very first day we hit it off, really, from meeting at the chemistry reads, she's just got such a good energy. And yeah, we all just clicked straight away. It was like, there's definitely Corinna and Yaz having a good time. And then there's like Elle and Tara, which we need to tone down a bit because Corinna and Yaz together are wild. We have a great time.
The two of you looks like you were matching at the little screening premiere event. What was it? Someone posted on TikTok. It was like out of the Matrix or something.
Yeah, and it was so unplanned. And this is what I mean. Like, we're coming for world domination. That's what's happening there.
Now, tell me about working with your director, Eros Lynn, because what's interesting is he's used to doing kind of more darker dramas. So to take on a project like Heartstopper that still has its more angsty, hard moments as a coming of age, but it's different than what he's kind of known for.
Yeah. Eros is such a pleasure to work with. He's such an actor's director in the sense that he'll give you ways to help you get into this emotional state that he's trying to capture. So less of like, oh, be more like this. Eros will give you suggestions, give you like a fun, think about this while you're saying that and see what happens. He's just got so much patience, so lovely and so supportive as well. Like, I never felt nervous to try something else, or I never felt scared to ask a question to help me get to a place which is, you would expect, is like how every film set or TV set would be, and it's really not. So like, working with Eros has been incredible, and I still can't even like really put into words how amazing that man is. Like, wow.
The bar is set high for future directors for sure, but I love that to hear that he made it such an open environment, especially with so many new actors on set. Like, you're bound to have questions, and I'm glad that he was open to answering and kind of guiding you. Is there a specific part, scene, or overall theme in the books that you would love to see adapted on screen should season 2 be greenlit?
I think, as we spoke about before, it would be really nice to touch on like Tara and Darcy's home life and a bit more of their backstory. But I know everyone's going to be itching for more Tao and Elle. That comes. But I'd personally love to see a lot more Isaac, Imogen, and Tori, and how they interact with the gang, because we're all at the same schools. So I think that would be fun when we go to Paris in season 2.
My fingers are crossed for Paris and the Paris squad too. Now, tell me about working behind the scenes with this cast. What are some of your favorite moments from working with everyone?
Oh, I really did love the day we, wow. So it comes into the story when we're walking to go to the orchestra performance. That day, it was really fun. It was the only thing I had to film that whole day. That beautiful moment between Kizzy and I. Then we walk off. And then, do you know what we did when we walked off? We went and got an ice cream. It was great. The sun was shining. There were swans. That was a really fun day for all of us. And yeah, I think it was like one of the days, like after a couple of weeks when I hadn't seen everyone. So to see like Kit, Joe, Will, Yaz again, that was nice. I also really liked the rugby day scene, just because I was obsessed with the rain machine. It wasn't actually raining. It was all a machine, and I really enjoyed it, but the hair extensions really didn't, because that was awful.
Wow, so it wasn't raining at all. That's movie magic, right?
Magic, so magic.
So tell me about, you mentioned ice cream, which draws me back that I wanted to briefly talk about it, which was the milkshake cafe scene, actually, because that just looked like a really cute, colorful set. It must have been nice to get out of uniform, go somewhere new.
Every day I wasn't, not that I don't like the Higgs uniform, it's great. But every time I was out of uniform, it was like another Adam creation. He did all the costumes. So I was like, yes, I get to wear something else. And the jumper and the culottes were so comfy. So yeah, I was obsessed. Actually, I've just realized I've said that, but I was in uniform for when we was drinking the milkshakes. I was talking about another scene where I get to wear no, the rugby scene, yeah, the rugby day where I'm in the jumper. That was really fun. But milkshake day, that was also really fun. But the milkshakes weren't as nice as everyone thinks that they were from our great acting. Mine wasn't so bad because I had strawberry flavored, so it was kind of like watered down strawberry, which is sort of like flavored strawberry water. So it was fine. But I didn't even try the banana or chocolate or the bubble gum. The bubble gum. Poor Kizzy. I think that was the worst one.
Did you ask them how did it taste? And they said, I wouldn't recommend.
They weren't happy. They were like, and because I've committed to drinking it now I've got to drink it for every take. They had regrets, I know for sure.
I mean, on camera, they looked so cute. So next season, they need to bring in the real milkshakes with all the heavy cream, the less water in the in the recipe for sure.
Don't worry, I've got my list of demands.
Yes, submit it before season 2. It's like I need better milkshakes if we go on another milkshake cafe date. Now the fan response has been so warm and so wonderful. Tell me about some specific messages or comments you've seen online that have stuck with you.
Okay, well, there's always been the Osman verse pre the show. I love seeing them on Twitter, like everything that they have to say. They are so supportive, and to see that they now it's on screen because they were worried. They were like, "Oh, I hope it doesn't lose the essence of the books." So just seeing that they still love the show just as much as Alice's amazing books is really heartwarming. One of the pages, Nick and Charlie, I saw a message from them, and they said that just to see what they imagined, like how they'd imagined it from reading and just seeing the drawings just on Netflix now. And they said that we captured everything beautifully. That was really warming and really comforting to hear from like OG fans. Like, I take it. Also, Russell T Davis said it was the most wonderful show in the world. So it's the most wonderful show in the world.
I love that you have kind of been soaking everything in, and you have a few different social media channels between Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. So I'm sure you're one of the cast members who've kind of seen the most and see the different fandoms exist on the different platforms. And what's cool is not only online, but I know at the screening premiere event last week, you actually got to meet some fans in person and sign some autographs, which must have been surreal.
So surreal, so surreal. I was standing there going, I've been asked for my autograph, and I was like, I better not put my signature. That would be awful. So it was so surreal, and it's just really nice to see that people come out and want to like meet you and say hi for this thing that you've done. It's an honor.
Yeah, I know they got you and Kizzy outside, and it's funny what you mentioned about the signature. You're like, do I sign it like how I sign, statements for Corinna, or do I do a little scribble? Have you practiced your signature, your autograph since then?
I have just gone with the thing that I did on the day, and we're going with Corey. We're going with a little cute Corey with a little heart. We're going with that. I might do some more practice.
I feel like your autograph or some people's autograph changes over time. So I'm sure you could add little doodles here and there. You might be asked for it a lot more in the future.
Yeah,
maybe
it might change depending on how much time we have,
the one day where you're just inundated with autograph requests and you're like, I can't do this anymore.
And yeah, I'm sure I'll get stamped. No.
Yeah. I'm like confident that you're going to remain humble with this. We're rounding things out here. I have to ask you, who are you listening to on your playlist?
Oh my gosh. So obviously the Heartstopper Spotify soundtrack. Duh. With amazing artists like Baby Queen, Bella, Orla Gartland as well. Huge fans of them. Callie Clare, a song that I am obsessed with, Heartstrings by Callie Clare featuring Hamza. It's been on repeat for a long time, like for about 2 months now, actually. Yeah, I'm also really into IB Bella. Dolly Parton, I was listening to this morning, 9 to 5. Good song. Yeah, I listen to a range of music.
Yeah, can we talk about Colors of You by Baby Queen? It was such a phenomenal song, like as a theme for Heartstopper, and it was actually written for Heartstopper, right?
Yes, it was. Patrick got involved with Bella, and the rest is history. Like I can't even believe it. And she was there at our cast and crew screening and did a cheeky performance, and I was just like, oh my god, this song's so perfect.
Yeah, I saw all the photos. It's nice that she's essentially one of you. And then at the same point, you're thinking, oh my gosh, Baby Queen has to do another song should season 2 and in future seasons. It's one of those things where I think it will be kind of tied forever.
Yeah, it's true. And I there's been a lot of talk about a band, a Heartstopper band. I'm not sure, but I just keep seeing like loads of tweets. So maybe we'll get a Heartstopper band going, because Will's incredible on the piano. Ria's an amazing singer. I sing a
You
little bit.
also sing, so
I do.
give yourself some credit. Heartstopper band, such a great idea. What do you imagine other people doing? So you've got Will on keys. You could also take kind of co-vocals.
Yeah, Ria and I will be on vocals. Yaz will be on vocals, dance moves with Kizzy. Toby's gonna he's I don't know. What's Toby? Toby's got some moves. Toby's gonna be our dancer, number one dancer. And Tori will be playing an instrument or something, I'm sure.
How about Kit and Joe? What are they going to be doing? What would you put them?
Kit will be vocals as well. Joe will be on the drums, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. I love it. We need this band to get going ASAP. I love that it'll be like half dancers and then half musicians. But I mean, those are the best party acts, right?
Yeah. And if you go on tour, you need the dancers for the musicians, you know. So we're ready. A compact tour. Ready for you all.
We have one more question for your signature question. If you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
Oh, I would be. Oh, this is a good question. I think I would be mint choc chip, which I feel like is quite controversial. Some people really hate mint choc chip, but some people really love it.
And that's the reason for it. I think a lot of people would like you. So it could be, I like when people say the answer and they say, I'm kind of fresh or something like that. I'm not sure if that's something you would go for, maybe.
I'd say I'm mint choc chip because, yeah, I'm refreshing, breath of fresh air, and I got beautiful chocolate skin.
That is accurate and I love it. Thank you so much, Corinna, for taking the time to chat. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure to catch Corinna in season 1 of Heartstopper. It is out now on Netflix. We'll have more Heartstopper interviews coming to you very soon, and we will see you next time.
Bye.